She faked being crippled for love? Part 2. Remember part 1 of this story. Camilla had everything, beauty, brains, and billions, but she didn't have love. After countless heartbreaks with men who only desired her wealth, Camilla, a young, beautiful, dark-skinned Nigerian billionaire heiress, made a shocking decision. She would pretend to be poor and crippled, just to find one thing: genuine love. Together with her loyal cousin Miriam, Camilla began a daring social experiment, and then came Jerel, a humble, handsome mechanic with the hands of a servant but the heart of a king. When their paths crossed, he didn't see a crippled girl, he saw a soul to protect. He lifted her, repaired her chair, brought her flowers, and gave her dignity, without knowing she owned more than his workshop could ever earn in 10 lifetimes. But while Jerel was falling in love with the broken girl in the wheelchair, Camilla was falling into guilt. With every kind gesture, her lie grew heavier. And yet, Jerel never judged, he only loved. Unknowingly. So the real question is, what happens when a lie that began for love starts to break the heart it hoped to protect? Will she tell him the truth? Or will the truth destroy what could have been the most honest love she ever knew? This isn't just a story. It's a mirror to every heart that has ever wanted to be loved, not for wealth, status, or strength, but simply for being real. She faked being crippled for love? A journey of tears, twists, and truth. Hit subscribe and feel a story that will stay with you long after the credits roll. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks since that golden afternoon when Jerel pushed Millie home and gently asked if she needed a friend. But since then, there was nothing. Not a call. Not a message. Not a visit. Millie would occasionally stare at her phone, turning it in her hands, pressing the screen to check for missed calls. Mary noticed. Of course, she did. But neither of them spoke about it directly. They both silently agreed not to call him. If Jerel was truly interested, truly sincere, he would reach out. Maybe he lost his phone, Mary had offered once, folding a wrapper. Or maybe he's busy with work, Millie had replied, trying not to sound hurt. But even they knew these were excuses. And hope, that cruel little candle, flickered quietly in their hearts. On the 15th day, they went to the local market. Their budget was tight. Everything was calculated. Yam instead of rice. No fruits today. Milk only for tea. They were walking back, Mary pushing Millie through the uneven sidewalk when it happened. Crack! The wheelchair wobbled. One of the wheels gave a sickening twist. Before they could react, the chair jerked, tilted, and the right side gave way completely. Mary caught the handles quickly to keep Millie from falling. People walked by. Some stared. Others whispered. But no one offered help. For a moment, they were stranded. Then, Millie did something Mary didn't expect. She brought out her phone and, without hesitation, dialed Jarel's number. "Are you sure?" Mary asked nervously. But Millie had already pressed the green button. "Hello," she said softly when the call connected. "It's Millie. We need your help." She explained their location. The broken wheelchair. Their struggle. Jerel didn't ask questions. He didn't hesitate. "I'll be there soon," he said. And he meant it. The lift that changed everything. In exactly 29 minutes, Jerel pulled up. To their surprise, he wasn't on foot. He arrived in a small, slightly dented but well-kept blue sedan. The car shone from a fresh wash, though Jerel still wore his mechanic's uniform, grease-stained and slightly open at the chest. He wasn't alone. A young apprentice stepped out with him, carrying a tool bag. Jerel rushed to them, kneeling by the wheelchair. He examined it carefully, his brow furrowing with each click and twist. After a few minutes, he stood and shook his head. "It's gone," he said solemnly. "I noticed it was falling apart the first day I helped Mary push it. I should have said something then." Millie said nothing. Mary sighed. "I'll need to take it with me to the shop," Jerel added. I'll try my best. But for now, he paused, turned to her gently. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'll have to help you into my poor and uncomfortable car seat. Without waiting for approval, he stepped closer and in one fluid movement, lifted her into his arms. The world stopped. Camilla's breath hitched in her throat. She wasn't prepared, not for the strength of his arms, not for the calm authority of his movements, and certainly not for the unexpected emotion that washed over her. His apprentice quickly opened the car's front door as Jerel carried her like a fragile, treasured possession. Her body was tense, but her heart softened uncontrollably. It was the first time in years that anyone had held her like this, without intention, without calculation, just care. Jerel placed her gently in the seat and buckled her seatbelt. I'm sorry if that was uncomfortable. Camilla could only nod, eyes wide, lips parted. At the back seat, Mary watched everything, her heart pounding, her mind racing. She wasn't worried about being found out, not yet. But the thought of this innocent man eventually discovering their lie tugged at her conscience. She wondered, what happens when the truth comes out? Jerel turned to her and handed over his tool bag. Please hold this for me. I'll take the chair in my trunk. Of course, she muttered, unable to take her eyes off Camilla's face. The drive was quiet. The apprentice played music from the radio softly, an old love song in a language none of them spoke, but the emotions hummed through the melody. When they reached the house, Jerel parked carefully and stepped out. Without saying a word, he moved around to Camilla's side, opened the door, and once again lifted her with that same tenderness. This time, Camilla didn't resist. She even relaxed into his chest, her heart echoing louder than the street sounds around them. Mary opened the apartment door quickly. As Jerel carried Camilla over the threshold, something shifted in him. Something permanent. He didn't just feel attraction, he felt home. He had never held anything so soft, so vulnerable, so beautiful. She felt like a missing part of him, like something broken inside him had just clicked into place. Camilla, resting in his arms, could feel his heartbeat. It was fast but steady. She was wrapped in care, and it melted the last hard part of her heart. Jerel gently placed her on the old couch, fixed her skirt modestly, then stood upright and said, I'll come tomorrow and give you a temporary chair. But I'd advise you save up for a new one soon. He bowed slightly, picked up his tool bag, nodded at Mary, and left with his apprentice. Only when the door clicked behind him did Mary finally exhale. This man. Oh, Camilla. If only he knew. Camilla said nothing. Her lips trembled. Her fingers gripped her thighs tightly. She looked at Mary with tears swimming in her eyes and whispered, I think I've made the biggest mistake of my life. Because I think I'm falling for him. It was nearly 4 p.m. when a knock came at the door. Not urgent, not loud, just firm and polite, like someone with a gentle heart and an important reason. Mary peered out through the curtain and gasped softly, It's him, it's Jerel. Camilla's pulse quickened. She had not expected him today, not so soon, not without a call. Her hands instinctively smoothed her dress as she shifted on the couch. The door opened. In one swift, masterful motion, she caught Camilla's arm and tugged her back down to the couch with such theatrical flair that it could have won awards. Do you want to fall down and crack your head? She scolded dramatically, fanning at Camilla like a panicked nurse. Have you forgotten your estate? She turned. Jerel emerged from the back of the car like a magician revealing a grand illusion, only this wasn't an illusion. It was very real. Majestically, he rolled forward a brand-new, self-driven, automatic wheelchair. Sleek, shiny, silver and black with metallic blue stripes. The kind of device Camilla had only seen in catalogs or glossy TV commercials. Camilla's breath caught in her throat. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Mary's hand flew to her mouth, trembling. Her eyes burned instantly with unshed tears. Jerel smiled proudly. I noticed how old the previous chair was. I could tell from the first time I pushed it. It was struggling. So, I've been saving. I'm not rich, but I know how it feels to be stuck when you should be free. Camilla's eyes were now overflowing. The tears came slow, then faster. No sound. No sob. Just warm, silent tears that rolled down her cheeks and disappeared into her blouse. Jerel stepped closer, concerned. Are you both okay? Why are you crying? Camilla couldn't answer. Her mouth opened once, then shut. Her chest rose and fell rapidly as guilt choked her like smoke from a fire she'd helped start. Mary, ever the protector, stepped in once again. It's Joy, she whispered. Her voice cracked like old glass. We're crying for Joy. That's all. Jerel looked down, humbled. It's nothing big, just a small thing. You deserve better. He turned to the wheelchair and began adjusting the armrest and setting it in position for Camilla. Let me help you into it. Camilla wiped her face quickly and nodded, afraid that if she spoke now, her voice would betray everything. As he lifted her from the car seat into the new chair, he felt something, again. Something sacred. He was falling in love. And not just for beauty. He admired her strength, her elegance, her spirit. He wanted to protect her, to serve her, to stay close. Mary stood behind them, watching both her cousin and the man they were deceiving. Her heart twisted with conflict. This was a lie, yes. But this lie was starting to feel like love. In one swift, masterful motion, she caught Camilla's arm and tugged her back down to the couch with such theatrical flair that it could have won awards. Do you want to fall down and crack your head? She scolded dramatically, fanning at Camilla like a panicked nurse. Have you forgotten your estate? She turned to Jerel quickly and extended her arms. Please help us, sir. You may have to carry her again. Jerel didn't hesitate. It was as though he had already prepared for this. With a graceful calm, he stepped forward, scooped Camilla up as though she were made of glass, and carried her out of the apartment. His arms cradled her as gently as the first time, strong, secure, unshaken. Mary followed closely, trying to steady her racing heartbeat. Outside, a different car was parked. Sleek, newer, more elegant than the humble red one from the day before. Jerel gently placed Camilla in the front passenger seat and carefully adjusted her seatbelt. Camilla looked around the car, then blinked at him with a puzzled expression. Does this car belong to you, or is it a customer's? Jerel chuckled as he shut the door softly. No, it's mine. Without giving her time to digest that answer, he walked to the boot and popped it open. What he pulled out next would alter the atmosphere instantly. Jerel emerged from the back of the car like a magician revealing a grand illusion, only this wasn't an illusion. It was very real. Majestically, he rolled forward a brand-new, self-driven, automatic wheelchair. Sleek, shiny, silver and black with metallic blue stripes. The kind of device Camilla had only seen in catalogs or glossy TV commercials. Camilla's breath caught in her throat. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Mary's hand flew to her mouth, trembling. Her eyes burned instantly with unshed tears. Jerel smiled proudly. I noticed how old the previous chair was. I could tell from the first time I pushed it. It was struggling. So, I've been saving. I'm not rich, but I know how it feels to be stuck when you should be free. Camilla's eyes were now overflowing. The tears came slow, then faster. No sound. No sob. Just warm, silent tears that rolled down her cheeks and disappeared into her blouse. Jerel stepped closer, concerned. Are you both okay? Why are you crying? Camilla couldn't answer. Her mouth opened once, then shut. Her chest rose and fell rapidly as guilt choked her like smoke from a fire she'd helped start. Mary, ever the protector, stepped in once again. "It's Joy," she whispered. Her voice cracked like old glass. "We're crying for joy. That's all." Jerel looked down, humbled. "It's nothing big. Just a small thing. You deserve better." He turned to the wheelchair and began adjusting the armrest and setting it in position for Camilla. "Let me help you into it." Camilla wiped her face quickly and nodded, afraid that if she spoke now, her voice would betray everything. As he lifted her from the car seat into the new chair, he felt something, again. Something sacred. He was falling in love. And not just for beauty. He admired her strength, her elegance, her spirit. He wanted to protect her, to serve her, to stay close. Mary stood behind them, watching both her cousin and the man they were deceiving. Her heart twisted with conflict. This was a lie, yes. But this lie was starting to feel like love. Evening sun poured through the curtains as the day wound to a close, but for Miriam and Camilla, the emotional storm was only beginning. Jerel lingered by the doorway, hesitant, as though he still had something left to say, or do. He cleared his throat softly and reached into his back pocket. "I almost forgot," he said, holding out a neatly tied bale of crisp 200,000 naira notes. "This is for your wardrobe. You too deserve something fresh. Something beautiful." Camilla's mouth opened slightly, a protest forming on her lips, but no sound came. Miriam stepped forward, received the money with a graceful bow, and muttered a stunned, "Thank you." Jarel's smile deepened. He turned to his car once more, opened the back door, and returned with something delicate in his hands. A bouquet. Rich, velvety roses and pale lilies, wrapped in fine, scented tissue paper. It looked almost too elegant for someone in oily overalls to be holding, but in his hands, it looked right. Natural. Thoughtful. Embedded in the bouquet was a small cream-colored note. The name written in fine cursive caught Camilla's eye before anything else. For Millie. Her throat tightened instantly. Millie. He had remembered. That was the name he thought was hers. The name she never corrected. The name he had now immortalized in ink and affection. He stretched the bouquet toward her with gentle care. "Camilla," he said softly, "this is for you." But she couldn't take it. Her hands remained frozen in her lap. She looked at the flowers like they were thorns, like they could cut. Her gaze darted away, to the door, to the couch, anywhere but at him. I can't," she murmured. Before the silence grew awkward, Miriam reached forward and took the bouquet from Jerel's hands with poise and calm. "Thank you, Jerel," she said sweetly. "They're beautiful." Then she turned and gave them to Camilla, practically pressing the flowers into her cousin's lap. "And that's how you appreciate a friend," Miriam chided under her breath, not unkindly. Jerel just chuckled. "No worries," he said, his eyes still on Camilla, tender, knowing, patient. Then he did something that made Camilla's stomach flip. He winked at her. Not playfully, not mischievously, affectionately, deeply. Then, without another word, he turned around, walked to his car, and in a matter of seconds, the engine roared and the vehicle disappeared down the road. Camilla stared at the bouquet in her lap, blinking slowly. Her fingers ran across the small note again and again. For Millie. That night, she didn't sleep. Not because she was afraid of being caught, but because she feared she was starting to wish it all were true. 2 whole days passed. Not a single knock on the door. Not a single call. No bouquet. No Millie. Nothing. Camilla found herself staring out the window more often than usual. Miriam noticed, because she was doing the same. "Maybe he got tired of us," Camilla said one afternoon, her voice nearly a whisper. "No," Miriam replied, not looking away from the window. "He's thinking, just like we are." That evening, over a steaming bowl of spicy jollof, they finally opened the door to the conversation they had been avoiding. Camilla set her spoon down and sighed, shoulders drooping like a child caught red-handed. He's falling in love with me. Miriam nodded slowly, saying nothing. I'm feeling something too, Camilla admitted, her voice cracking. But I'm afraid. Afraid that if he sees the truth, if he finds out we've been Nollywood actresses in this real-life love story, he'll walk away. Miriam finally turned toward her cousin. Then we need to think properly. So, like guilty planners, they pulled out a notebook and scribbled down their thoughts like co-conspirators preparing for a heist. But this time, the treasure was forgiveness, and the risk was heartbreak. Two decisions stood tall at the end of their discussion. First, they would use the N200,000 he gave them exactly for what he intended, upgrading their wardrobe. Not because they needed it, they could easily afford 10 times that amount, but because if he ever asked, their answer would be truthful. This is your wardrobe, Jerel. Second, they would begin to subtly correct the false names. No dramatic confession. No drawn-out explanations. Just a few gentle conversations, some clever hints, and slowly, they'd undo the lie without destroying the bond. They called it Operation Truth by Style. They laughed, then cried, then laughed again. At one point, Camilla clutched Miriam's hand. Do you think God will forgive us? Miriam squeezed her fingers. Let's just make sure Jerel does first. In the end, they made peace with their little sins, not by denying them, but by calling them necessary unethicals. Their term, their justification, their antidote to guilt. Then, the next morning, with courage hidden under lashes and lip gloss, they picked up their handbags. It was time to go shopping. The boutique had no clue what was coming. Two elegant women stepped in, eyes sharp, cards ready, and hearts unsure. Camilla and Miriam didn't shop like liars. They moved like queens. Classy, intentional, unfazed by the murmurs or admiring stares. The salesgirls tried to guess what kind of money these women carried. One of them whispered, "Oil wives." Camilla picked a long cream lace gown and pressed it against her chest, then turned to Miriam and said, a little louder than usual, "Do you think Camilla would look elegant in this?" Miriam got the cue immediately. She nodded dramatically. "Yes, Camilla, that one is made for you. Especially now that you're glowing." Camilla smiled. Step 1 of Operation Truth by Style, executed with grace. They moved from gowns to handbags, from sandals to high-end perfume. And with every item, they imagined Jarel seeing them not as struggling, helpless women, but as who they truly were, empowered, graceful, flawed, and sincere. "He'll feel proud," Camilla whispered, touching the soft fabric of a burgundy dress. "He'll feel deceived," Miriam replied, adjusting her earrings. Both were right. At the checkout, the bill was N147,800. Camilla paid in cash. "Jerel's wardrobe," she said, smiling at the receipt like it was a love letter. They returned home with bags full of clothes, but their minds were heavier with emotions than their arms with fabric. After dinner, Camilla tried on one of the dresses, stood before the mirror, and imagined Jerel saying, "You look breathtaking." She closed her eyes. Her heart hurt. But now, the game had changed. The lies would start dying, softly, stylishly, one honest hint at a time. And maybe, just maybe, so would the guilt.
This is just the beginning of this story. Part is already loading. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and press the notification button to be informed when the next episode of the story is published.